The idea of a global food crisis in 2026 is becoming a serious concern discussed by economists, scientists, governments, and international organizations around the world. Food has always been one of the most basic needs of human survival, yet today, millions of people are facing increasing uncertainty about whether food supplies will remain stable in the coming years. Rising prices, supply chain disruptions, climate change, population growth, and geopolitical conflicts are all contributing to fears that the world may be moving toward a major food shortage. Many experts warn that if these challenges continue without strong global solutions, the situation could become one of the most significant humanitarian and economic crises of the decade. Food prices across many countries have already increased dramatically over the past few years. Families in both developed and developing nations are spending a larger portion of their income on basic groceries. Products such as wheat, rice, corn, cooking oil, and dairy items have become more expensive due to a combination of factors, including higher transportation costs, energy prices, and disruptions in agricultural production. These price increases are not only affecting poor communities, but also middle-class households that previously had stable access to affordable food, one of the biggest drivers behind the growing food crisis. Concern is climate change. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent across the globe. Droughts, floods, heat waves, and unpredictable rainfall patterns are damaging crops and reducing agricultural productivity. Farmers, who once relied on predictable growing seasons, are now facing uncertain conditions that make planning extremely difficult. In some regions, long droughts have destroyed harvests, while in other places, heavy flooding has wiped out entire fields in a matter of days. Another major factor influencing the global food supply is the ongoing geopolitical tension and conflicts between countries. Wars and political instability often disrupt the production and transportation of essential food commodities. For example, conflicts in key agricultural regions can reduce grain exports and create shortages in international markets. When major suppliers reduce exports, prices quickly rise across the global market, making food less affordable for millions of people. Population growth is also increasing pressure on global food systems. The world population continues to expand, and more people means higher demand for food. Water and agricultural land. Feeding billions of people requires massive production systems and efficient supply chains. Yet in many areas, farmland is shrinking due to urban expansion, environmental degradation, and water shortages. These challenges make it harder to produce enough food to meet the growing demand. Water scarcity is another critical issue that is closely connected to food production. Agriculture consumes a large portion of the world's fresh water supply. Crops require consistent irrigation, especially in dry regions. But many rivers, lakes, and underground water sources are becoming depleted. As water becomes more limited, farmers may be forced to reduce crop production, which could further tighten global food supplies. Supply chain disruptions have also played a major role in highlighting the vulnerability of the global food system. During recent years, international trade routes, transportation networks, and shipping operations experienced major disruptions when ports slowed down or transportation costs increased. The movement of food products across continents became more difficult. These disruptions showed how dependent the world has become on complex global supply chains. Another important issue is the rising cost of agricultural inputs, such as fertilizer, fuel, and farming equipment. Fertilizer is essential for maintaining high crop yields, but global fertilizer prices have increased significantly in recent years. Higher fuel costs also increase the expense of operating farming machinery, transporting crops, and running food processing facilities. When production costs increase, farmers may struggle to maintain profitability, which can reduce future agricultural investment. In some countries, governments have responded to food shortages by restricting exports in order to protect domestic supplies. While this approach may temporarily stabilize local markets, it can worsen shortages in other parts of the world. When several countries impose export restrictions at the same time, global markets become more unstable and prices rise rapidly. Technological innovation may offer some hope for addressing future food challenges. Advances in agricultural technology, including precision farming, improved irrigation systems, drought-resistant crops, and artificial intelligence-based farm management systems are helping farmers increase efficiency and productivity. These innovations could help stabilize food production if they are adopted widely and supported by strong policies. However, Technology alone cannot solve the problem without coordinated international cooperation. Global organizations such as humanitarian agencies, development banks, and research institutions are working to create strategies that improve food security, strengthen agricultural resilience, and support vulnerable communities. Long-term investments in sustainable farming, water management, and climate adaptation will be essential to prevent a severe food crisis. Food waste is another important issue that often receives less attention. Large amounts of food are lost during production, transportation, storage, and consumption in many developed countries. Supermarkets, restaurants, and households throw away huge quantities of edible food. Reducing food waste could significantly increase the availability of food without requiring additional agricultural production. Economic inequality also plays a role in the global food crisis. While some countries produce large surpluses of food, others struggle with chronic shortages. Poverty limits access to nutritious meals even when food is available in markets. Addressing food insecurity therefore requires not only increasing supply but also improving distribution and economic opportunity. The future of global food security will depend on how governments, businesses, farmers, and communities respond to these challenges. The choices made today will determine whether the world moves toward stability or faces increasing shortages in the coming decades. Strong policies, sustainable farming practices, investment in agricultural research, and international cooperation will all be necessary to ensure that food systems remain resilient. The question facing the world in 2026 is not only whether food production can keep pace with population growth, but also whether global systems can adapt quickly enough to climate change, economic pressures, and political instability. If these issues are addressed with urgency, innovation, and collaboration, the world may be able to avoid a massive food shortage. But if the warning signs continue to be ignored, the risk of a serious global food crisis could become one of the defining challenges of our time.